Give me just a second to get everything set up. All right. Make sure the stream is actually working. And get the chat running. Yeah, looks like it's working. Hi, everybody. All right, first of all, looks like the microphone's doing well. Let's just play for a second the music so you guys can hear that. Make sure that's good too. Yeah, that looks good. Hey, Arachnobot. And Aratasami. We could just play this for now to start with. Hey, Sphax. This is Cubase 7.5. Here, turn this down. This is super loud in my headphones. Cool, glad everything's working okay. Yeah, you know, I haven't even like looked up version 8 of Cubase. I don't even know what the new features are or anything. Oh, cool. Hey, Crit Distance Gaming. Yeah, I do remember that. Your dissertation. Yeah, that was really cool. Okay, so that's the whole song. Now you've heard it. Arachnobot, are you from Maine? And about the drums, it's multiple kits, what you're hearing. A couple of different things from different sources. Like, actually, I don't really remember here. So this part, let's take a listen here. I'll solo this. This is really simple drum kit. What is it? Oh yeah, so it's a 909 kit. So it's supposed to sound like a, what is it? Is it Roland who made the 909? So it's a really simple thing, but then the glitchy stuff is a completely different thing. I think it's Crystal, which is made by Sound Iron. Yeah, Crystal, and it's just all, it's like glitchy sounds. It's just a collection of glitchy sounds. It's really fun to play with. You can just sort of play it at random and it sounds neat. You can't just sort of just play it at random and expect it to sound good, but it's very easy to play around with. Hey, Steve! Good for you to join. That's Steve Swink. He is an awesome game developer and a good friend of mine. And I believe he's living not too far away from me right now as well. You should come visit and we should watch Jurassic Park. Let's see here. So, today we finished writing the song pretty much. So today I wanted to do like polishing and mixing and mastering today. And so there was actually one thing that I started to add right before we started the stream, and this, I wanted to add some more like punch to stuff, like to transitions. Like, okay, so like you go here, there's a transition here, so I'll start this. Hey, Nabs! So that's actually, I don't know, that might be a good transition by itself, but I added this drum machine and gave it this massive reverb. Because you may remember a couple episodes back I had this noise splash that I wanted to do. Let me turn it way down and then play it so you can... You guys kind of remember this, and I didn't really like it. I was like, oh, maybe it would be cool to have this like big splash of sound. But it didn't really work. But I have this other thing that I did. So this is a very simple... it's called 80s Electro Kit. And here I'll recreate sort of my process of building it. And I realized when I built it right before the stream, I was like, oh, this is something I should have done on the stream. But anyway, so this kit is currently not working. Oh, I must have it too high up here. So yeah, it's got some nice like very like 80s electro sounds. I kind of like it. And it might be good for transitions. So what I did is also added a huge reverb. So I took a preset called Helm's Deep and cranked the high frequencies of the reverb sound. So when you do it, makes a nice, wonderful reverb sound. My friend Nabs, who you just saw on the... Hi, Amora. You just saw Nabs saying hello. Nabs is a great old friend of mine. And he used to be in a band called Big Mean Sound Machine, and you can hear them on Spotify. He was the drummer. I don't remember the name of the album that he is featured in, but you should listen to Big Mean Sound Machine because they are awesome, and Nabs is an amazing drummer. Okay, so what if we do, like, we add this thing right here with the transition? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure if that fits or not. But maybe we should turn it down first before we say no. So if you do something and it doesn't sound like it fits, always turn it down to -5 and then try it again. kind of neat. Let's just put it in and then... my timing was terrible there, but we can just fix that easily. Hi, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining. Whoa, we got a lot of people on here. For some reason, my Twitch thing doesn't tell me how many viewers I have anymore. It just always says offline, even though it clearly is actually playing. All right. Let's listen to that again. Yeah, I don't know if I like it or not. Maybe it'll be good, better elsewhere, but maybe this needs to be louder. I don't know. That's actually kind of cool once it works. Let's say the levels are accounted for. Oh, okay, so it's just like a problem with Twitch then. Alright, I actually kind of liked that sort of explosion there. Let's go back a bit. Hey, thanks, Trizzle Fizzle. Yeah, I don't know. But I bet it would sound... Still not entirely sure, but I think it would sound good in other places. Like when we get more percussion. Turn it down a bit. Let's go back. That sounds better. Yeah, I kind of like that. Maybe here too. Let's try it there too. We're just gonna try and place it everywhere and just kind of hear how it sounds. It may be too much, I don't know. Okay, it's better there. That could just stay. This I'm still not sure on. Let's try it again over here. We could also try lowering the pitch. Okay, we got some questions here. Sorry, everybody. I'm kind of in... The chat is going way faster than I can keep up with. Trizzle Fizzle asks, my favorite track from FTL is Hacking Malfunction, but what is your personal favorite? I think my personal favorite would be NG Battle. I also really like Lost Ship from the Advanced Edition soundtrack. What instrument is playing in the blue lane? That is the glitch drums that you're hearing, so I'll solo it so you can hear it, or isolate it so you can hear it. So that's this, basically. It's a drum machine, or a drum sample called Crystal, and it's really just a bunch of glitch percussion. And if you watch an earlier episode of this, you can find them on YouTube. If you go to youtube.com/BenPrunty, you can watch earlier episodes of this live stream, and you can see the process of me making this, and how I made it sound like... Even though it's kind of random, like how I made it sound pleasant. And basically it involves the velocity of each note hitting. So by making the odd numbered notes a bit lower than the even numbered, or I'm sorry, the even numbered notes a bit lower than the odd numbered notes, I'm able to make it sound pretty pleasant, even though it's like kind of like random. It's definitely random because I hit random notes. Yeah, and I put triplets in there to, you know, spice it up a bit. So I'm gonna mute that one because I'm not really sure about it. I wonder if we do like a lead up here, if it sounds good. We'll do the full thing too. We'll just add this as well. It's probably gonna sound bad, but it does sound really. Let's get rid of this. I do like the lead up though, the rev symbol. So we'll keep that. For accessing effects on any instrument, I pull up the channel settings, and then I usually just do insert effects instead of sends, although sometimes for some situations I'll do sends. And that's how I access effects. So here's like the reverb effect on that, on this thing. Yeah, I don't really like the sound of any of them. Scrub Niggerath, I'm not really sure what you're talking about. I've loaded up battery in a channel, and then in that channel I have an effect placed on the channel. I've loaded battery multiple times, like different kits. Like here's another kit, the 909 kit from battery. There may be other ones. Like there's this one too. What is this? I don't even remember what this is. Oh yeah, this is like some hi-hats. And that's like a basic drum kit, which is actually one of my favorites. I use it a lot. It has some great sounds. if you listen to Metro Molecule on Color Sky, it has the basic kit. Oh yeah, gotta represent Humble Bundle. This was given to me by John Gran himself, one of the co-founders. All right, so I'm gonna listen through this whole thing again and try to see what other like flourishes I might be able to add. Oh yeah, you know what? I probably should have done more introductions here. You good point, Sinvidica. Let me pause this and I'll talk about this more. So this was originally a track for a documentary that I'm working on, or worked on and finished. I didn't end up using this for the documentary. I finished the documentary. It's all done. My soundtrack's finished. I don't know when the documentary's coming out. I haven't really heard from the filmmakers in a while. It should come out this year sometime. I don't really know. I didn't end up using this track, so I decided to just make it the sort of the feature track on this live stream. And if you go to YouTube, my YouTube page, YouTube/Ben Prunty, you can watch all the previous live streams of me working on this. So you can see it start from like a pretty short idea into like this full song. So I've just been working on this one song, but we're gonna hopefully finish it up this time. And so yeah, that's sort of what we're working on here. So we're gonna listen to it again, and I'm gonna see if there's any place I want to add flourishes, and then if I decide that it's good, then we'll start doing mixing. So we'll go back a little here. Hi, Kethril. Alright, so yeah, I don't know if there's anything I really want to add to this or not. But we can do some mixing. And yeah, I agree, it already sounds pretty good as it is. Thanks, guys. I'm glad you like it. But that should not excuse us from the mixing process. So we can listen to like any given part where there's a lot of stuff going on, and we can try to like see if there's anything that can be improved. So let's listen to this beginning part here. Looks like I did some mixing before anyway. This did a ton of mixing. I don't even know what's going on here. This could be a little louder, I suppose, at this point. Oh, it's already, looks like I turned it up at one point. Hey, sorry guys, I'm not answering questions here. What headphones monitors do you use now? The monitors I use normally are Yamaha HS7s. I forget what these headphones are. AKGs of some kind. AKG K490NC. They're not exactly like... They're really nice headphones, but they're not necessarily made for like actual mixing. They're not like studio headphones. But, oh yeah, thanks Monk of Destiny. I just did an article that detailed all of my current equipment. So that's what I use. So I was just upping the volume on this baseline thing. Yeah, it's a little better. What is that? This thing. I want this to have more... I really like the sound of this, and I want it to sound louder. Let's see if we just not turn it down. Let's see how it... Oh, by the way, there's like a little bit of like a overload on the bass that only is happening because of the live stream. I don't really know what it is, but it's making the bass overload. The final version will not have that. This could probably go up a bit too. It looks like it's already up. Let's maximize this. So we're gonna load up Maximizer, which is like it's like a compressor. Let's go back here. Oh, we got a question here. How does your MIDI workflow compare when working in Ableton or Cubase? I only barely have started working with Ableton, so I don't really have like a workflow yet so much. I'm like, everything I'm doing is just like learning how to use it rather than actually making anything. So yeah, I don't really have a workflow yet. But generally, with Ableton focuses more on live performance, and while you can write music in the same way that you do with Cubase, like with this sort of transport view, like where time goes from left to right. In Ableton, you can make what they call clips, which are loops of music, and they're little boxes, and so you can be like, I want to hear this loop, this loop, this loop, and you hit all of them at once, and then you'll hear the three loops playing at once, and then you can kind of be like, oh, now I want to play these loops, and then these loops. So it's sort of like you build up a bunch of loops, and then you can improvise by playing different ones at different times. So that's sort of the big difference that Ableton has over like every other digital audio workstation, and it's really cool. And this thing here is the Ableton push controller, the first one, and I'm also learning to use this thing as well. Okay, so let's keep mixing here. So I boosted this thing a bit too. Oh, I'm sorry, Sinvidica. Yeah, I meant to answer and I just forgot. This track will definitely be available. I don't deliberately like hide any of my music for any reason, unless it's like just terrible. This will be definitely available at some point. I just don't know how yet. So you will be able to get it. At some point, I'm going to do a Patreon. I can't really start the Patreon right now because I'm stuck in jury duty, and it's sort of jury duty has completely taken over my life. It's basically a full-time commitment, and I can't really make any plans until it's done because I don't know how long it's going to take. All right, here we go. I still don't like that transition. It's not impactful enough. That's too weird. That doesn't fit. That one works, but the other one doesn't. Yeah, it's a little better. Don't want to get... It's really easy to go overboard with glitch percussion because it sounds so neat. Like glitch percussion is so pleasing to the ears that you want to like turn it up, but then you know, like anything, you can just like overwhelm the sound. Hey, thanks. I'm glad you like it. Zaranel. I'm so bad at like internet handle names. I'm gonna have it a little, just slightly quieter than how it gets later. we'll just leave it as is. You're gonna hear a lot of me. You're going to hear a lot of me rewinding, listening to the same thing over and over and over and again in a loop. And I'm sorry if it's boring, but this is part of making music. This needs to be louder too. So, okay. I could be explaining stuff better, huh? So, okay. You probably already figured out sort of what's going on here if you don't use digital audio workstations. This line goes along from left to right, and as it goes along, it plays all of the notes that it hits. Each one of these is a different instrument, and these you can kind of see the notes they're playing. And I can double click on one of these boxes, and you can actually see it in detail what it's playing here. Let's find an easy thing. Like, oh, okay, this is easy. This is the cello part. So this is the cello. I'll even write down cello. At least I think it's the cello. I can solo it. We can open this up, zoom out a bit so you can see this better. And these are the notes that it plays. I can just draw notes right onto the grid. We'll delete those though, because that would sound awful, whatever it was. So here you'll see it play this note. So that's what's sort of going on here. And then, in addition to that, I have a little thing. I can hit this little E here, or I have a key on my keyboard. I hit the tilde key, and hitting the tilde key is actually an old reference in the way I set it up myself. I set it up so that the tilde key turns up channel settings, or makes the channel settings appear for each instrument. And that is an old reference to Quake, because you'd hit the tilde key to bring down the console. And I got so used to that being like tilde key to bring up options and edit things that I'm just like, it's so burned into my brain that I had to make the tilde key the channel settings. So anyway, for each instrument I can load up channel settings, and this allows me to insert effects, which go here. Effects are like adding reverb, or adding a delay, or adding like a flanger, or anything. This is EQ. I can change the sort of the shape of the sound, and let's play around with the EQ so you guys can see that. Let's take this one part here and loop it. I don't even know what this is, but okay, yeah, this is a pretty good thing to mess around with the EQ on. Oh, Scrub, the portamento on the cello is actually built into the instrument itself. It's called the Tina Guo legato cello, and it automatically adds legato between notes, which means you have to like anticipate that and like write your parts accordingly. Oh, I have the thing soloed, don't I? Turn that solo off. But you can see if I hit notes, so yeah, it's really cool. It's way better than Contact's cello, but it's also like not as versatile. Like you can only do that one legato thing, and it's kind of slow. Like you can't play fast notes with it. Hey, Master Sword. Okay, so we were going to talk about EQ, because this is sort of a mastering episode, so I might as well get into more mixing and mastering stuff. So we've got this part here. Let's load up his channel settings. Looks like I already have a thing here for it, but you can see the frequency spectrum reflected here. These are low frequencies are down here, and it goes up to higher frequencies. And we can use this to like boost or cut out certain frequencies. Actually, let's pick something that doesn't have any edits, so I can just change it without worrying about messing it up. Or, you know what, forget it. Let's just do it anyway. Okay, so if I take one of these and I move it around, you'll start to hear different sounds. See, I'm boosting the higher frequencies so you can hear them now. Or we can cut them out and you can hear that instead. Oh, it's supposed to loop here. So if we cut this out, it gets kind of like muffled sounding because we're cutting out the high frequencies. Or we can cut out the low frequencies. Whoops. Or cut out the middle frequencies. So if you listen carefully, you can hear the lower frequencies, you can hear the higher frequencies, but the lower frequencies go away. Or the middle frequencies, sorry. So you can, hearing that, you can see how that's a very useful tool for mixing. So you can like cut out certain frequencies so that it gives breathing room to everything else. So like, if we listen to this one part, what else we got? We have this, and we have this. What if we turn this? Doesn't have a lot in the higher frequency range. I don't even remember where this was now before. I also want this to have like a deeper sound, so I'm going to actually boost this just a little bit. Alright, let's get these out of here. Oh yeah, and then we've got our bass line too. Maybe we don't need to. So I was just talking about how I wanted this part to be deeper, but then I forgot that I also already had a bass. And here's where you can kind of hear that weird, that kind of crunchy, overloading sound. That is only because I'm live streaming. It does not show up normally. So in the final version, we won't have that. This could be more interesting. Yeah, you can hear that. Ugh, what is that? I don't know what's causing that, but oh, you know, it might be this compressor too. Actually, does it even need the compressor? Yeah, it still happens even with the compressor. Sometimes that compressor is problematic. We'll keep it on anyway, because I probably put it there for a reason. turn these off. Alright, what else we got? We got this thing here. Could turn it up, I suppose. I don't know if we need to or not, but let's turn it up anyway. That's actually kind of nice. Yeah, you can hear it better. Whoops. What's my scissors? There we go. Just cutting a blank piece off there. We didn't really use this again, did we? We could like we could place it somewhere else. All right. I don't really know if it would. Let's see. Put it somewhere else. Oh, we did have it later on here. I should probably check that out before changing the volume, huh? Let's listen to it. Yeah, I don't like the volume change there. So we're going to, whoops. We're going to change the volume here. We'll bring it up like we did. But then this will be at its standard volume. Oh, we've got it here too. Whoa. I forgot. So, okay, here's another problem that you'll have a lot in music production is you'll forget what you were working on before. That's normal. Yeah, I liked having this louder a lot. Is it the first time that shows up? No, of course not. It's right here too. Yeah, we should mess around with that too. Master Sword says, when you wrote this track for the documentary, did you ever expect it to turn into what it is now? No, I really thought it was just going to be a quick piece for like a short segment in the movie. I took it out because it was a little too like joyful to fit in with the movie. And it was a lot shorter than it is now. So now it's like, I can do whatever I want with it, so I'm just sort of like doing a bunch of things that are kind of fun and sound cool. And so I can show you guys different aspects of the process. The scene was sort of a near the end of the film where it was like people were reflecting on events that happened earlier in the film, and it was sort of in like a kind of a melancholy kind of feel, and this is just too happy for that. So I eventually took it out and used something else. Okay, hang on, let's try that again. Could be louder. Oh yeah, thanks Monk of Destiny. that's the documentary. It's weird that I'm on IMDb. Yeah, we don't even have like a movie poster or anything yet, which is too bad. I really want like a cool movie poster or anything. Oh man, it sounds so neat by itself. Kind of want this to be more prominent too. I already have a maximizer on it. Okay, let's crank it a little bit. Might be too loud at this point, but we can also cut out some of the middle frequencies. Oh, here's a fun technique. This is a really quick, easy way to like do some mixing. Like, so you have a part, like this thing, and you can take your EQ, like grab an EQ point and just go across the whole spectrum like this, and listen to where it like overloads and sounds the worst. And it looks like it's like around here. And then after you've found that spot where it sounds the ugliest when you crank it, go push it down a little bit. And then you have like sort of instantly taken out like the worst, or at least dampened the worst frequencies a little bit. It's like sort of like you made an instant compressor like really quickly and easily. And now it is less likely to interfere with other sounds. I learned that little technique from Star Salzman. Does anyone know who Star Salzman is? He is one of my favorite artists, like, ever. One of my favorite music artists ever. Oh, you know what else I want more of? I want more of that hi-hat. Yeah, the soundtrack for the documentaries is huge. So they asked me when they came to me, they were like, we pretty much want wall-to-wall music for the whole movie. And the movie's like over 90 minutes long. It's like probably like an hour and 40 minutes. So I just made an hour and 40 minutes of music. And so it's about 100 minutes long. So it's a huge soundtrack. And I'm not going to release it till the movie comes out, and I don't know when the movie's coming out. So I can't tell you when the soundtrack is coming out. I have no idea. Hopefully sometime this year. I want these hi-hats to be louder. They're really quiet, but they could sound really cool. So that's another thing. Like, if you have something that like you really only like say for a hi-hat, you really only need like the mid and high frequencies. You don't need any lower frequencies, but it may be projecting lower frequencies out, and you don't need them. So let's listen to it and load up that channel thing. So, like, it has some lower stuff. You can kind of hear me cut it out when I do this. So listen carefully, and you'll hear the lower stuff get cut out. Whoops. Hear the difference? But we don't really need that middle stuff. Like, that's not necessary. So we might as well just cut it out to leave room for the other things. So, in fact, in this case, instead of using EQ, since I want to just do a sort of a broad sweeping cut of frequencies, I'm going to load up a filter. One of my favorite tools is this dual filter. It's a built-in thing in Cubase. You can just like cut out lower frequencies or higher frequencies, whichever one you want. So it's either you can even see it disappearing from the frequency spectrum there. And you got to be careful of how far you go, because you could just destroy the sound. This sounds good. It's really subtle. Alright, so, oh yeah, a link to Star Salzman's music. You can find him at starblast.org. He was once a very prominent artist on Overclocked Remix, which is one of my favorite sites ever. They do lots of music rearrangements. There's a ton of great music there. But yeah, Star Salzman is a really great artist and remixer. He does these like really cool sort of electro pop music that he sings on, and he does it all himself out of his bedroom. And I was a huge fan for a long time. He's a big influence on my own style, and I've hung out with him a couple of times, and he's a really cool guy. He works like in IT, and like he's so unassuming. Like he makes this brilliant music, and he's just like, oh yeah, you know, I just do it. It's fun to do, and like he doesn't see it as like a calling or like his life. It's just like sort of a hobby that he does on the side, and it's just like, what? You could be doing this all the time. It's so good. It's crazy. But yeah, he works at Apple, doing some kind of IT or engineering or something. All right, let's listen to that again. And still... I'm going to boost the highest frequencies on the hi-hats there. Because I still feel like it wasn't impactful enough. Let's listen to that again. Back here. I'm not sure, that might be too much. Let's turn it down just a little bit. We're going to try one more thing with this, and that is, we're going to try to, I guess its stereo image is pretty good, but I'm going to try, I'm going to try enhancing the stereo image on these. We've got this fun, like, little stereo enhancer. You can increase the stereo image on something, so you enhance the left and right differences on something. It's usually used for mastering, but sometimes I just place it on an instrument. So this is like here's mono, and then maximum stereo width. Let's just crank it and see what that sounds like with the whole setup. Yeah, if you get like the pro version of Cubase, you get like, I don't know, something like 60 different effects that are just built in, and they're all really good and really easy to use and figure out. They've got like really cool amp simulators. They've got a couple of great reverb things. You know what? Since we don't have a ton to do in this particular track, I'll go in. I'll show you some of the effects that they have too. Yeah, I like the bigger stereo presence of that. In fact, I might do that with some of these other ones too. Like this one. Let's try it on this too. Also, I'm gonna do some stereo. I'm gonna do some stereo mixing here too. Like, I feel like everything's kind of in the center, so I'm gonna take, like, say these hi-hats, move them a little bit to the right. Maybe take this and move it to the left a little. When you do this kind of thing, when you're moving things left and right to, like, kind of widen the sound, you have to be careful because you're also going to perceive it as being quieter when it's not in the center. So you might need to, like, if you move something, like, kind of far to the left or right, you might need to boost the volume a little bit. Hey, Thief. I will totally use you guys how to use a compressor. We'll do that in a bit. I'm still kind of doing some mixing, and then once I get that done, I'll show you guys a bunch of different effects. Oh, that stereo sound of the glitch percussion is really cool. I'm going to turn the bass down a little bit on that. Kind of quiet, huh? Let's turn that up a little. Those are both really quiet. What, did I change that and not realize it? Yeah, probably. Okay, let's go back. Excuse me. Yeah, Telephone Tel Aviv. Hey, Matteo Atom, I know who that is. Matteo is an old college friend, and he was a great friend because I was going to school for audio engineering, and everyone at the school was there because they wanted to get into rock music or recording rock music. And the vast majority of them did not understand electronic music, and some of them were even, like, disdainful of it. They were like, it's not real music or whatever, and that was kind of obnoxious. I was really fortunate that at least the teacher was just like, I don't understand electronic music, but I don't hate it either. Like, he wasn't going to be like an asshole about it. Anyway, most of the other students, though, were just like, did not understand electronic music and had no interest in it. But Matteo there, he was a huge electronic music fan, and he had this really cool synthesizer, and we definitely would geek out a lot about synths and electronic music together, and it was awesome. So thanks, man. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, piano roll editor is just, it's so much more direct than using like a score editor. I never use the score editor in this thing. I don't even know how to access it anymore because it's just not worth it. Piano roll editing is so much cleaner and better. We can move this Celesta too. Oh, we did already. Let's do a little bit more. Up the volume on all of this a little bit because I just moved it a bit more. Let's try that. Oh, you know what? It doesn't really matter. This is the very basic sort of drum sample. Scrub asks, do you play and quantize most of the notes or enter them with the mouse? There's a little bit of both going on. So oftentimes, if something is simple enough, I'll just play it and leave it. If it's more complex, I'll often play and then quantize. Or I'll play, quantize, and then add notes or modify them afterwards. Or if it's really complicated, I believe, like, this part here. I believe I entered those notes in on the editor rather than played this. It's much too complicated for me to like play because I'm not actually a very good keyboard player. Let's cut that part off. I don't like that. So yeah, so it's a combination. It totally depends on the situation. Let's go back to mixing here. Oops. Sometimes I will cut out the low end of like a cello, if there's a cello part. I'll cut off the low end. This cello's recorded so well I don't usually tend to put effects on it, but we might, I'm probably not going to do it in this case, but we might cut out the low end with the filter just so it sounds more like it's in a room. And it's not just like close mic'd, it sounds more like it's in a room with all these other crazy instruments going. Hear the difference? It's okay, it's really subtle, I admit. But, little engineering tip. So, recorded instruments tend to have more lower end frequencies as they get closer to the microphone. So like if I get closer to the mic, you'll hear more low frequencies than when I'm further away. So one thing that bugs me in video games is they'll have voice samples, for characters, and like it's a 3D game. Characters will get further away, and whoever the audio guy was just simply turns the volume down as the characters get further away. The system turns their volume down, but it doesn't turn the bass down, and that sounds really weird because that's not what people sound like when they're further away. You need to like add a filter that slowly also cuts out lower frequencies as a character gets further away from you, so that it actually sounds just like in real life. And games with good audio, they think to do this, but you'll hear a lot of games, especially older ones, that don't do that, and it drives me insane whenever I hear it. I just bugs the hell out of me because I'm an audio guy, and I'm being I get unreasonably upset about it, for sure. Whoa, hey Narwhal, that no one ever talks about Asher. That piece, Asher the Sky God, was a very important piece, because I had just started to understand I just managed to figure out how to set up my MIDI setup so it could play my external keyboard, because I didn't have software instruments at the time when I made Asher the Sky God, and I used to rely entirely on just playing instruments and recording it. And Asher the Sky God was one of, not the first, but one of the first tracks that I made that actually I had figured out I could write MIDI notes and have my instrument play it and have that be recorded instead of me trying to just play it by hand. And so I went completely nuts and did this 4 or 5 different Celestas playing at once with all these complicated melodies that I wrote, and I was it was, at the time, it was definitely the greatest thing I had ever written. And it was that piece, Asher the Sky God, is a very meaningful piece in my own personal music writing history. It's kind of an older one. I believe it's on Curious Merchandise. If you download Curious Merchandise, purchase it and download it, you get that as a bonus track. And yeah, that was when I finally got music production and MIDI music production down. It was it changed my life. It was, you got to remember, I didn't have any mentors for electronic music, so I had to figure everything out myself. And so, using MIDI to trigger instruments was kind of a foreign concept for me for a while, because I learned kind of just recording instruments and playing instruments because of my audio engineering training, but I had no electronic music training. So it was I was figuring everything out on my own. And when I figured out MIDI triggering and being able to write notes in an editor like this, it just changed my world. And Asher the Sky God is the expression of that. It's sort of a celebration of being able to write MIDI notes. all right, let's keep going. Oh, that's a much better, fuller transition now that this thing is much louder. Hey, Scrub, yes, that is an arpeggiated synth. That is, Signal, I believe. Yes. That is Signal, a really awesome tool, and whenever the documentary soundtrack comes out, you'll hear Signal a ton, because it was like pretty much the main instrument of Signal, of the documentary soundtrack, sorry. It is an amazing tool. It's kind of expensive. I think it's like $200. But man, is it fun to play with. I should just do like a whole episode on using Signal because it's so cool. I don't prefer one to the other. It depends on my what I'm trying to write, because obviously like this was entered in manually, and then like Signal is clearly you don't quite enter in everything manually. But here I'll even mess around with it so you can hear it by itself. So what it does is you load up two different instruments. So I've loaded up like a synth and a triangle synth. And there should be animation here. Signal's a little bit buggy. And you decide on like a shape and like its frequency and the shape and frequency. This is like a classic arpeggiator kind of setup here, and this is just a waveform. And you combine them and then add effects, and it's really fun to just mess around with. So like you can hear, let's turn this one off, and you can just hear this one by itself. So what I've done is like, it's this sort of a triangle wave. We can even turn that off and you can just hear it by itself. So that's kind of neat, right? And then turn this on. And then turn on this part. And it spins around the stereo. And then, okay, we'll turn this off and we'll have this one. It's just a simple arpeggio. Same idea. And then you turn them both on, you have a really cool, like... It's really, really, really fun to play with. I use presets occasionally, but I actually like building all these from scratch in Signal. This is like sort of an exception to my usual thing, which is I just take presets and modify them. But Signal I almost always build from scratch because it's so fun. Let's listen to some other ones too. So you know what that sounds like. What is this one? There's another Signal one that I probably built myself. Yeah, so this is like, it's a little funky sounding, but it's like a muted guitar sound. One of my favorite sounds in the library, and then a sine pluck, which is just like a sine wave. So we put them together. It's really fun. So, okay. So now you know what Signal is, and sometime I'll go into more depth and we'll even like create some Signal patches ourselves, and that'll be really fun. Yeah, it's so much more full now that we've adjusted So even though it sounded good earlier, it's still worth it to do like a mixing process and just go through and try to see where you can improve the sound. It's almost always worth it, and if you don't like it, you can always just go back. In fact, you know what? I haven't saved in a while. Actually, I have this thing set up to save automatically, but save backups. But it's good to do a manual save every once in a while, too. This is sounding kind of quiet now that I've adjusted everything else. Turn it up a little bit. Actually, you know what? I want to do an even bigger lead up to this part here. So let's listen to it again, and we'll look at what we want to change. So what if we got rid of this part and we added a new thing? So I'm going to add an instrument. It's going to be contact. And within contact, we are going to load up Rev, which is a really cool reverse instrument library. And it's really fun to play with, but it also comes as a bonus, comes with this sort of rises thing, which is just like simple samples of that. You sort of pick how long you want it to be. So we're gonna say 1 bar plus tails, and let's listen to. It'll make sense as soon as I start messing with it here. It's really fun. I'm gonna combine them. So then, okay, so what is a bass note? Or not bass, yeah. Yeah, I guess it would be a B. So if we load this back up again, we change our root note to be B. That doesn't sound right. Okay, maybe it is this. Sometimes things get out of sync. So that sounds pretty cool. So we just combined 2 of them here. It may not sound good, but we're going to try it anyway. That's 1 bar. What is this thing? Maybe this is already 1 bar. Yeah, it is 1 bar. Let's do 2 bars. So load up the instrument again. Let's say 2 bars plus tails. Yeah. So then it's going to be much longer. So then it starts here. Or we can just maybe kind of crazy, but we're just experimenting. So it's gonna sound bad at first, and you roll with it and keep editing until it sounds good. So the very first thing I'm doing is lowering it to -5. That's a good way to it's a good start to make sure it doesn't sound too awful. Doesn't quite work yet, but we'll just keep adjusting until it does. Or I want it to be a lower sound. Yeah, something like that maybe. Well, we'll leave it. Let's see what that sounds like. No, it's too quiet. other part back in and have like a double rise, which I've done sometimes and it totally works. It's actually kind of neat. But let's do some EQing on it first. Let's listen to it in more context here. We'll go back a bit further here. So it's always helpful to go back a little bit and get more context. Let's do some volume adjustment in mid playing here. Just a little bit. Go back again. Okay, it's kind of cool. This could be a little bit louder now that there's more of a build-up. So what I do is I make a bunch of little points. You can see I made a bunch of edit points. And I grab these two and then crank it a little bit. Just a little. Hang on, let's make this bigger. Just a little. Okay. All right, I'm going to go back. I want even more context. So I'm going to go back here and listen to the whole thing. Alright, alright. The build-up works for the most part. I may want to modify it a little bit. This part I don't like as much. This one I do like. This one, maybe we'll try a different one. Whoa. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Let's try that. See what that sounds like. Yeah! That's it. It's less distinct. So it's like, you perceive the build-up, but it doesn't distract you from the rest of the music. Before I make a final decision, though, let's go back. Thanks, Amora. Yeah, it's good. Could even turn that up a little bit. Now that it's not as intrusive. What will happen? So I'm going to try something else. Now that we have this cool thing, let's put it over here and see what it sounds like there. I don't know if it'll be good. It may be terrible. Scrub asks, what's that thing you do where you bring up a whole range of envelope points? Oh, that's just, it's a way to, if you have a bunch of different points and you want to change their position all together at once, you select a bunch of points and then use that. And it even, Cubase even accommodates for the fact that it's a logarithmic scale. So as you may know from audio, is that like a volume slider is not a linear change in power, like signal power. It's actually like a logarithmic change. So so when you get lower on it, it actually is decreasing the volume by more, like per space. Anyway, so how do I do it? So let's make a bunch of points first of all. We go like blah, 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 blah. And then we can move them all like this. I just select them all at once and then move my mouse up here to the top, and we can scale like this. And so you can see how the upper ones move a much wider range than the bottom ones. But we're going to get rid of all that because we don't want it. And we're even going to turn that part off. So, okay, so we put this build up here near the end. And we're going to try using it, see what it sounds like. Kind of neat. know if it works, but let's go back even further to get better context. Yeah, I don't know if I really like it. Maybe if we just have one of them, we'll mute that one. Just have that lower. I don't know. Maybe that's just too crazy for that part. Lower this a bit more. Make it quieter. Still can't tell if I like it or not. Look, even more. Yeah, it doesn't. You're right, Master Sword. I think it's too much for this part. Yeah, get rid of it. So we delete it. Whatever. Get rid of those. Not a big deal. Let's listen to this. I adjusted the volume on this part too, so I'm going to go back and listen to it again. Go back and compare the beginning, because we don't really go back and edit the beginning at all, mainly because I like how it is right now, but we shouldn't ignore it. Yeah, you know, the beginning is just in really good shape. I like that it's kind of minimalist, so it kind of sets you up for the increase in complexity as it goes. So we're just going to keep it as it is. Hey, casually challenged. My last name is pronounced Prunty. So, yeah, there you go. Oh, we've got a question here. What's your theory or composition history and background? So, my background, I went to college with Matteo in the chat there for audio engineering. I took a 2-year program, and audio engineering is basically recording bands. That was essentially what the goal of the program was, to teach you how to record in a studio environment. So I learned a lot about like microphone placement, recording vocals, mixing, mastering. A lot of the mixing techniques that I've been showing you here, I learned in my audio engineering college, and that was like a bajillion years ago. I graduated in 2003. So this is a long time ago. Everything else electronic music production, uh, music theory, learning to play the piano, guitar. All of it was self-taught. Um, so yeah, that was in the intervening years after 2003. From then till now and forever is all me teaching myself to do all these things. Oh yeah, banjo too. I don't really play the banjo much anymore, but I did teach myself to play the banjo, and I started that in college. I have two banjos, and they're both really awesome. But yeah, I haven't really played it in a long time. I kind of switched focus to guitar because I really want to play funk guitar at some point. um, yeah, so I've been teaching myself to play guitar in the last year or so. It's been going very slowly. Have you played Banjo-Kazooie? Yes, I did. I got Banjo-Kazooie when it first came out, and I loved it. I don't think I can play it anymore these days, but uh, I really enjoyed it when it first came out. I loved the sense of humor of the game. I even met Grant Kirkhope, who made the music for Banjo-Kazooie, and he's a really awesome guy. Do you know anything about MIDI pickups? Not really. I maybe once I get good at guitar, I might get into like learning how MIDI pickups work and using them. But it hasn't really been something I've looked into. Let's keep going, listening to the rest of this. So this section also we haven't really changed much. Let's put this over here too, just to experiment. We're not necessarily going to keep it here. Narwhal asks, how long will it be before this track is released? I don't know. I don't have any plan. I've just been using this for the live stream the last month or so, and yeah, it will soon be finished, and then I will decide how to release it. So I've talked about this in previous episodes, but I'm thinking of doing a Patreon to support this thing, so maybe allow me to do it more often. And yeah, so the Patreon, for those of you who don't know, Patreon is a voluntary subscription service. So I would say, hey, I'm doing a Patreon, and please support me doing this kind of stuff, which is like creative live streams where I teach people how to do this kind of thing, and that would be, it's entirely voluntary. You can subscribe and pay a certain amount each month, including nothing. You don't have to do any of it, and there would be sort of some rewards for like higher tiers. Yeah, Kickstarter for recurring content. That's a good way to put it. Dark Twinge. So yeah, it would be really fun to do, and it would allow me to spend more time doing this stuff, which I really love doing. I love doing these creative live streams. I look forward to them every week. Um, and if I'm doing a Patreon and it's like going well, I can justify spending more time on it rather than other things like more soundtracks or whatever. Um, So anyway, the idea was that if there was a Patreon, one of the rewards would be like an album of all of the things I worked on during the live streams. And so I'm not sure if I want to include this as part of it, this track, or not. I can't really do anything with the Patreon until this craziness with jury duty is over, because it's, taking all of my time. Scrub asks, oh, we've got a couple of them. Casually Challenged asks, if you could work on a huge big budget AAA game, like someone came to you and offered you the job to some major franchise, would you do it? And if you have, please don't take offense. I only know your more indie stuff. I was approached at one point by a AAA studio to do one of their smaller games, and we could not come to an agreement over contract issues, so they did not work with them. But I was willing to work with them. We tried to come to an agreement, and it didn't work out. I tend to demand more as a composer than a lot of others, and we just couldn't come to an agreement. I can't tell you who the AAA publisher was or anything like that. But it was a really cool project, and I was really stoked about it, and didn't really work out. They went with someone else because I had too many demands on the contract. So anyway, I might. It would depend on the game and like ownership rights and my schedule and like a lot of different things. But usually the first thing is like whether or not I'm excited about the project in the first place. If it's a game I have no excitement in, I'm not going to participate. I've been approached to do a lot of different mobile games, but I always turn them down because they're usually like free to play with like manipulative microtransactions, and I'm not going to get involved in that kind of thing. Okay, so next question. How long has this song been in progress? I started working on this like in December for the documentary, and then it just sort of sat around for a little while until I started doing this live stream. And then I work on it a couple hours every Saturday. I do not work on it in between the live streams. So if you watch each live stream in order, you'll see the entire process from start to finish. Which I believe answers Dalton Fisher 9's question. Yeah, I sometimes forget what I'm working on, like, in between sessions, but that's normal. I get that with other projects, too. Like, sometimes I'll work on a track for a soundtrack and then leave it for a couple of weeks and just, like, forget what I was doing. And that's normal. You're gonna do that all the time. The really fun thing is, if I make a ton of progress, let's say I start a track, and in like 4 or 5 hours in one day, I make a ton of progress and make like a significant amount of the track, and it's like doing really well. So, at the beginning of the day, the track didn't exist. At the end of the day, most of it exists. So I made a lot of stuff, right? When I come back the next day to work on it, I will have no memory of what it sounds like. I'll have like maybe a vague idea of the feel of it, but I won't remember like the melody or the chords or anything. And it's really fun to go back and listen to it for the first time the next day, or maybe the next week if I don't get a chance to do it. And that's like such a fun experience to go back and listen to it with no memory of it beforehand. So it's like a new thing. Of course, it comes back, but Casually Challenged asks, have you or would you like to do a major movie soundtrack? And if so, what movie would you feel your talents would be best used in, like the genre or concept? So movies aren't really my thing. I'm more of a. I've spent my whole life playing and studying video games and game design. I actually was into game development before I got into music. Like I used to make games. I used to program games in BASIC and using click and play and like uh, on. I had like a TRS-80 and I made games on that. And I made games on my graphing calculator, my TI-83. I made like kind of like very basic roguelikes, like text-based roguelikes, and I just made tons of games and then eventually got into music. So anyway, like games have been just a huge part of my life. Oh, and even before that, I would make card games. And I even made, Steve will like this, I even made a single-player Jurassic Park roguelike card game back in the early like whenever Jurassic Park came out, 93 or 94. I don't think it was particularly well designed, and I didn't realize at the time that it was a roguelike, but it was like some of the most fun I ever had like as a kid. I was such a nerdy kid. But anyway, so games are my passion. Movies are not really. Like I love watching movies. I watched the Shyamalan movie The Visit last night, and it was actually really good. But anyway, I love watching movies, but I don't have the same passion or the same amount of knowledge of movies that I have for games. So like I don't really like think about getting into movies. And I did the documentary soundtrack recently because it was like I was a good fit because they really wanted like my style in particular, and it was paying well, and it was like it was really fun to do. So I did that one. But yeah, pursuing movies in general is not really like not really something I think about much. Have you ever played Hunt the Wumpus? Hump the Wumpus. I don't know if I want to play that though. Uh, Is it Untold Texas Instruments version of the Commodore 64? No, I did not play that. Uh, oh yeah, I saw that there was the new NetHack update. I have yet to download it, but I will. I remember seeing that. I don't know. The last update was like May of 2003, and I would always go back and see if there was a new update. But anyway, yeah, if you haven't seen Shyamalan's new movie, The Visit, it is really fun and totally over the top and weird and very enjoyable. It's a good return to form for Shyamalan. It's him not taking himself too seriously like he used to, and we had such a good time watching it. I've heard of Hunt the Wumpus, but I have not played it. Let's keep listening here for a bit, since you guys haven't heard any music in a while. Let's go from here. I don't know. I think we're pretty close to being done with this. Everything sounds really good now. Um, okay, we got is The Visit a good movie, or is it good compared to the last few movies? I'd say it's both. I had a great time watching The Visit, and I recognize that Shyamalan has kind of fallen from grace after his first really good three movies. He did like Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, and Signs, which are all really fun, and then The Village and Lady in the Water, they were just awful. But The Visit is like what should have been the fourth movie after those first three good ones. and like imagine that those other ones didn't happen, and it fits right in with those other ones. Yeah, I love Signs. Signs is a really great thriller. It was totally like Hitchcockian style thriller. Oh, we've got a question here. How long does it take to make one song on average? I would say like on average it's like maybe like 12 hours of work to make one song. Um, but that's totally an average. Sometimes it'll take me as little as like 4 hours to do a track, and then sometimes it'll take way longer. Um, like it may take like 20 hours or something, depending on what I'm writing and how difficult it is. And like sometimes I'll write something and it's like just not working, and I'll have to go back, like redo it from scratch, or like go back and drastically revise something, and it takes longer. So yeah, it can be a lot. It could be a wide range, but generally it's like probably about 12 hours. I don't know. Not really sure. Yeah, I don't like that. I forgot I put that in there. Let's get rid of that. It's no good. Alright, we'll just delete it. Blech. Gone. Oh, question. Alright, let's stop it here. Roggleboggle, which is my favorite name in the chat so far, asks, would you happen to remember what track in FTL took the longest and shortest to make? Zoltan took the longest. Zoltan I had even abandoned at one point because I didn't like it. The shortest? I'm not really sure. Oh, I can't remember the name. Wasteland, I think it's called. That one was mostly improvised, so it took very little time. So yeah, I think those are the longest and the shortest. Zoltan was like, I don't know, it was really hard to make, and I didn't really like it for most of the time I was making it. I was like, this isn't working, I'm going to abandon this. And I did abandon it. And then, I don't know, like a month later, I picked it up again, and I was like, yeah, this isn't that bad, actually, and kind of cleaned it up and got it into the game. But it took a long time to get it to sound good. Oh, I know what I was gonna do. We can add a little bit of flourish to this drum part that's not very exciting. Oh, Casually Challenged asks, have you ever just nailed a track? Like so little editing and it just came together like a scene in a movie where the magic happens. Yes, that's happened a couple of times. What the hell what's it called? Rockmen from FTL just came together really fast. What else? I'm trying to think. It's really hard now because it's a lot of stuff I don't really remember how it came together. But man, Rockmen came together super fast and worked exactly as I had hoped. Yeah, I can't really remember anything right off the top of my head now. Twitch needs to partner you and give you some front page love as promotion for their career. Yeah, you know, I should talk to them about it because I don't know how many people are doing like music creation live streams with audio workstations. I should try to talk with some of the Twitch people and see if I can get some promotion from them. So anyway, we're gonna mess with this a little bit. I want to do some triplets with the snare, with this thing here. I think this is the snare. Yeah, that's the snare. Right here, I want to do... Well, we already have triplet, like... No, 1/4 triplet. So if we did this, grab those two, we turn it up so that it matches the velocity of the other ones. So let's see what that sounds like. Actually, I don't really like that. I thought it would sound cooler, but... Scrub asked, do you prefer piano roll to drum map? Yeah, I just use the piano roll for everything. It's just consistent, and I don't have to think about it. You know, hang on, let's listen to that again before I just go deleting it. Yeah, I don't like it. No good. Maybe if we did something different here, like... What if we did this and we like... We're just throwing out ideas. Blah, 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 blah. And, Ooh, that's kind of cool, actually. Needs to be more... Yeah, that's really neat. We'll keep that in. We could also do like a triplet with a different instrument. Like, I don't know what else is on this thing. I haven't even messed with toms on this thing. I'm not even going to do it for this. Yeah, you know, I should look into Twitch partnership as well. Especially early on now, before there's like a ton of stuff in the creative live stream like community. I should probably get in on that early. Maybe if that works out, we don't have to do like a Patreon so much. Love that. I want to do that more. Actually, what we're going to do here is we're going to do that, I think. hard to hear with the build-up, but... Yeah, thanks, Steve. Yeah, I'm thinking probably Patreon is the best bet. But I will definitely also talk to Twitch about partnership at the same time. Yeah. Sounds good. Let's do something similar for these too. Let's do it in a different spot too. We'll have like right here. Yeah, that's cool. So we're adding variation and life to this piece by putting these little extra flourishes in different spots. It goes a long way to like keeping interest to the listener and making your music sound more like a living thing. That's always sort of like something I try to think about as I go. It's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, try to go for this idea that it's a living thing. So maybe we can do something here too. We do like just little things again. Oh man, did I do that? Where is the... Yeah, I didn't have quantize on. Look at my nice precise playing there. I got it pretty close to the actual note. We'll just leave it as is, and we will combine those. Yeah, it's true. I'll probably just do both. Try both Twitch partnership and a Patreon. But again, I can't do any of this stuff till jury duty is over, so it's going to be a little while. Jury duty, and then probably GDC, and then I will probably worry about doing the Patreon. Hey, Saw Slack. We got some questions here. How long will you stream? We'll probably finish up at 4:30. So in about 15 minutes. Steve, I have no idea what that means. Yes, I must have forgotten it because I have no idea what you're talking about. Put another snare here right before that, and just like I did earlier, like that. Yeah, that sounds good. Yes, I was picked for jury duty because I was not wacko nuts. There were some people who were kind of wacko nuts and were rejected for that, but I had no way of appearing terrible and did not want to be. I wanted to take it seriously, so I was picked. Unfortunately. Oh, you know what else we can do? We could do... This might be kind of fun. Opening this up and doing like a lead-in with the... Doing that same sort of rolling lead-in. I don't know. We're just, again, we're just experimenting. It may sound terrible. Who knows? That's actually kind of cool. Let's turn it up a little bit more. Yeah. I like that actually a lot. What happens when we put this in here? Let's go back here. Sounds cool. I don't know if it's necessary or not. Okay, so before we wrap this up, you guys have any questions about this track, or you want to see a particular part before we finish this off? Definitely, I'm here to answer questions. So if you guys want to hear about anything in particular, just let me know, and I will do my best to answer and teach you more about the process here. My goal is to like demystify the process of making music, because I think it seems like a very scary and intimidating kind of thing, making music electronically with computers. And I want to help demystify it and show you that it's not like we're not wizards. We just put in a lot of effort. Also, we will play the whole track from start to finish before we log off as well. Casually challenged asks, are you getting inspired while making this track to make another track somehow related to it? I guess not. But yes, very first part. This is the very first part here. We'll play it. Okay. Precisely what a wizard would say. I'm not sure what your big red arrow in the transport at the top is. Is it like this? Like, if you miss, hang on. If you misalign your start and end points for like making a loop, you'll get this kind of red bar here. But other than that, I'm not sure what the big red arrow is. Narwhal, you actually bring up an interesting point. Narwhal says, I think it's almost better to make people think musicians are wizards, less competition. I think that might be part of why a lot of musicians don't share their work in the same way, or share their process in the same way that artists do, like visual artists. Visual artists always seem to be more willing to share their process. But for some reason, I don't know what it is about music production, but it makes a lot of musicians think that they need to like guard their secrets somehow. But I don't know. I don't think the problem is that it's a big secret. I think that the real thing keeping the competition away is that it's a lot of effort. It's a lot more effort than people are willing to put in. Also, the other barrier is that it can be expensive, which is really bad. That's not a very good barrier to have. Yeah, Signal can be kind of hard to use. It's a little bit buggy, but I love it. All artists that are good at their craft are wizards. Perhaps. Okay, so if you guys have any more questions, feel free to write them in the chat. But I'm going to play the whole track from start to finish so you guys can hear. Excuse me, you can hear the entire thing. And when the song is done, I'll answer more questions. All right. So now I got a bunch of questions. Okay, first one. Casually Challenge asks, approximately how much would you say you spent in your craft over the years? I have no idea. I started in the year 2000. I was 16. We had just survived Y2K Armageddon, and I was getting into music. So I never really stopped making music from then on. So a lot of hours. I don't really know how much. Did you handwrite everything, or did you use arpeggiation at all? The tool I use, called Signal, did some arpeggiation on its own. But everything else I hand wrote myself. There's a lot of earlier in the stream. You can watch it on YouTube eventually. I'll put it up on YouTube. You can see me talk about Signal more. And watch the previous episodes because I get into it there as well. Scrub asks, is there a dedicated pause button? Should be the space bar. Should be able to just hit the space bar and it pauses wherever you are. Thanks, Casually Challenged. Yeah, I'm not quite sure about those extra snares yet at the beginning, or at that part. I might move it up later. Okay, anything else? Yeah, Scrub, I don't know what to tell you. When I hit the pause button, it stops exactly where it is. So, maybe you've got a different pause? I'm not sure what's going on with your Cubase. I just hit spacebar, it moves, and then I pause and it stops right where it is. So maybe check out... It's also the same as the play button. Like, the play button also acts as the pause button. So maybe figure out how to hit that button instead. Rather than the stop button, which I'm not really sure what it does. Number 0. It does the same thing. Oh, and then it goes back. Okay, so yeah, try using the play pause button instead. And all right, any other questions before we wrap this up? I'd say we're pretty much done with this track. I may do a couple of little things before I master it out, and we'll definitely get into mastering at some point. But I'm not going to bother with it right now. Next week we will start a new piece. I'll either have something just started, or maybe we'll start from scratch. I don't know for sure yet. Just yet. So yeah, next week, different thing. It's going to be a lot of fun, I'm sure. So yeah, please subscribe. If I'm going to go to Twitch asking about partnership, I need subscribers to help build my case. So please subscribe and follow me on Twitter. It's at Ben Prunty. Follow my Facebook page. We do contests on my Facebook page now. So that's definitely, you should definitely go there. And yeah, go on Bandcamp. Take a listen to the albums if you haven't. Play my games. I did the music for FTL and Gravity Ghost and Star Crawlers and a whole bunch of other games. Yeah, so I will see you guys next Saturday. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you then. Bye, everybody.